all for checking in again. We are live from CPAC 2020. And we have an amazing God connection right here.
Absolutely.
Dr. Torri J. Literally, like, for some reason, like, I was doing an interview and she heard what I said, and then she's like, it's just been amazing. So she's going to share with you what she's doing. It is so mission critical that we focus on what you're going to talk about, because anything that I will do will not be fixed unless we address the mission of Dr. Torri J. So, Dr. Torri J, what are you doing here? What are we doing here at CPAC?
What are we doing here at CPAC?
There's more than one of us. Congratulations.
Right, we have come out of the shadows. I will be honest, this is my first year at CPAC.
Yes.
I was reluctant. I was reluctant even up until Sunday.
Oh, I was reluctant, but 3 years ago, I was like, isn't that the scary place where people, like,
right.
Scary people go and meet at CPAC?
I have met some amazing people at CPAC. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, you name it. I've met them all. Okay. No, I met them all. And so CPAC has impressed me in multiple ways. But the way that they've really impressed me is embracing the idea and the understanding of fatherless.
Right, so your organization is
the Fatherless Generation Foundation, where we reunite fatherless children with their dads,
right.
Their bio dad, and then we provide resources and services for fathers.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that there's never been an organization like this before?
I can honestly tell you reunification is rare. But
Like,
I'm the first, and I'm probably the only.
Though, like, you use the term reunification.
Yeah.
We hear that in the political realm as, you know, somebody's been incarcerated and they're reunifying. Like, I think people don't understand the impact of what happens when a child and or a father has been separated
Absolutely.
from their children, and how big of an impact it is when those souls, those spirits, those people are reunited.
Well, let's just start with my story.
Okay.
I reunited with my father at 31.
Wow.
And, you know, being strong, and you're raised by a strong black
Yes,
mom,
yes,
and
yes,
you're educated. You don't think you need your dad. You don't even think there was an issue.
We don't need to help the door open. None of that. We are strong, independent black women, right?
And my brothers are strong men, and they're educated and all these. So needing a dad for what? And I realized there was a point where I got engaged. And what does every woman
engaged
want?
Like
married?
Okay.
To be married.
I was like, so, engaged in the community.
Like, no, engaged to be married. I like how she's clarifying.
Let's focus.
She's an activist, you can tell. So getting engaged, what does every woman want?
Yeah.
She wants her daddy to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
That's when you need a daddy. So then you ask questions that you've never asked your entire life. I had to ask my mother, who's my father? At 30 years old.
Can you say it louder so people can hear?
I had to ask my mother, who's my father, at 30 years old. And that's a tough question, to ask your mother the depths of her relationships and her love affairs and who she was as a woman and not just a mother. Because, see, we know a mother, we don't know the woman a lot of times.
True talk, because when my dad passed away in 2009, that literally was the first time I ever interacted with my mother as a woman.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Totally mother and sister. Like, because before it was mom, wife, dad, and there's always, well, in my experience, they were a unit. I had a really close relationship with my father, but when my dad passed away, I finally had to develop a full woman-woman relationship with my mom, which is huge.
And it's a different journey. It's a really unique journey. And she answered my question, gave me 2 names, and one man, he's still in my phone to this day. Like, he was in my phone a long time ago. And I called him, and I just was like, there's no way. Liz, he bought me maybe my first candy, you know, and he bought me prom dresses and put money on my first car. I'm like, if you've been around and you haven't told me that you're my father, we're going to have an issue. And he confessed, and he was like, I'm your father, and he's saying all, and I'm like, I just didn't feel it. So I looked in the white pages with the other name, my hometown. Yes, the white pages, you know, the one that used to flip.
Some people might know that.
Yeah, it's electronic now. It's online. And I found his address, and I sent him a letter asking him whether or not he thought he was my father. And he called me 15 years ago, because I just had a birthday on February 9th. He called me on my birthday to answer my letter as to whether or not he was my father. And I can tell you, that was the moment where I was like, I think I'm getting something from the gods. I think the Most High is revealing something to me. And that, at that moment, we did a DNA test maybe 2 weeks later. It came back 99.963% that that's my dad. And as a grown woman, you don't realize that moment, like, it makes you whole. You think you're whole because you're strong, independent, making your money, you got your this and your that. Materialism will never cover up the emptiness and the suppression of the pain that you had growing up with it. It just won't. And I didn't know I was broken. I didn't know I had it. I knew I was shy. I knew I was introverted. I knew I had certain things.
You were introverted?
I am a introvert extrovert. Like, I've taken my test.
Oh, okay.
And I'm an introvert extrovert.
Oh,
and
maybe,
people are always
maybe I'm an
surprised.
extrovert introvert. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
I am
an extrovert. Sometimes I'm like quiet Liz.
Sometimes you go home and you just don't. Yeah.
Especially what we're doing is like after this, this is your first CPAC, great, but like you're gonna be exhausted. Just it's the energy, exhilaration, and not only that, it's like to be able to share your message and to be able to plant that seed.
Yeah, it wears you out.
Well, not only wears you out, but it's like it's energy spent.
Yes.
And it's an investment.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful and thankful that you've been able to answer this. When did you shift your personal experience to I want to do something about it?
The day after I met my father face to face, because I didn't want to meet him before the DNA test. I'm that girl. I don't want to get to know someone. I don't want to let him in my space if he's not my dad.
Oh, you wanted data?
Yeah, I needed some data.
What are you, a PhD or something? Whatever.
I wasn't at the time, but yeah, it's always been in me.
Yeah.
So going to meet him, I took him and my bonus mom, who's very active in my life right now.
Bonus mom?
Bonus mom. I don't call her my stepmom. She's my bonus.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
My bonus mama.
Thank you for breaking that down for me.
The next day I take him to dinner, and that was the moment where I knew the fatherless generation was birthed. I didn't act upon it until 2.5 years later. And that was probably because my father passed around that time. So I started moving in on this right after he passed.
Your birth father passed?
Yep, he passed 2.5 years after I met him. So we had that time together. And I said,
such a blessing.
I said, I need to help other children. If I give them just one day with their dad.
And it's so interesting, but what's getting me is that you're already a full-fledged woman.
Yep.
But you're using the term child.
Yes.
And that's really, that speaks to you. Because it's like you're always forever going to be someone's child.
And there were parts of me that was still underdeveloped because he wasn't there to develop them, right? Yeah, he validated the part of me that I was questioning, I was unsure about. There's a part of you that walks in this life when you don't have a dad,
right? That
doesn't look like your mother, and you're like, where do I get this from?
So how was it with your mom?
She had challenges with it. We're not going to pretend. I'm going to tell the truth. We're going to be honest. Mamas don't always like it when you reunite with your dad. And it makes it hard. Because she's for it, right? Yeah. She was like, I know you need this for yourself. I know this is about healing. Now I'm spreading the message. And when I have to share that I had to get 2 names from my mother, there are some people who will try to make that into something else. But there's a lot of you who had 2 names, maybe 3, 4, 5 names. And so it's not about that. It's about helping the child understand who they are and where they come from. And you divulge that part of yourself so that they can. Right.
So I didn't tell you this, but this is sort of my journey. I'm a new born again Christian.
Okay.
I was saved November 30th, 2018.
Oh, you own it.
Baby.
Yes.
Like, woo.
Yeah.
That's what that means? Oh, I get it. Because I was raised Catholic, DC native, liberal environment, whatever. And I'm really have a burden for recalibrating what it is to be a woman, because I feel like I was on the other receiving end of sexual liberation and like women's lib and it's a feminism and it's okay. And like there are points in time where it's like, first of all, slow your roll, everybody. Like you don't need to like give your blessings to everybody else, especially if we don't really respect and appreciate it. And it's not just like a judgment that you are full on, pure and virgins and everybody's a bunch of sluts. Like not even like that. It's the fact that culturally speaking, we have totally degraded the most intimate relationships for now 2 generations.
And for a short moment of pleasure.
Well, not only that, but it's like, there's some times where I'm like, oh, my pastors daughter, oldest daughter, got married last year, and I thought to myself, how bad is this, right? I had never seen two virgins get married in my life until that day. Because our culture, 84% of us have had premarital sex. 84%. So that means there's like only 13, I think I'm doing the math, right? 13% who have waited. That's, I think, under the age of 40, 50. So, like, again, you know, it's like, that's why we're so disheveled. You know what I mean?
My mother allowed me to interview her on Facebook Live.
Ooh.
And I'm asking her questions that every woman should ask a woman. What did it feel like knowing that you're going to be pregnant, like you're pregnant at 21? You're going to have this baby. You don't know what you're doing. My mother began to break down why she chose the men that she chose and how she ended up in that situation in the
Because
first
she
place.
could have also not have
She could have been, yeah. Because I'm like, were you afraid? What did that feel like? She broke that whole thing down. But she also said, and I'm going to look at this camera when I say it, my mother also said she was looking for love to fill the hole that was in her heart pertaining to her mother, because my mother's mom was pretty aggressive. She grew up with both parents and home. My grandmother wasn't the nicest woman.
because
She wasn't stern, not nurturing, very verbally abusive, sometimes physically abusive. So there were things there that was hurting my mother. And she said, when John told me he loved me, I showed him how I wanted, how I wanted to express that love. And there are too many of us who do that as well. There are too many of us who are looking for love, and we don't recognize it. But I'm liberated, right? I'm showing all of my assets or whatever it is. Look, I am not a girl about covering up. I've been born again since I was 12. So I think it's awesome that that's a step that you've made. And when you start stepping into what God has for you, I wasn't a virgin, right? Because you go to college and you make some decisions you ain't supposed to. It says train up a child in the way they should go, so that when they turn out they won't. But sometimes they go in another direction, right?
So I grew up in what I now know is a very conservative household.
Yeah.
And I think I lost mine. I was 21 years old, and in my generation, that was considered old.
You were
right?
old. Yeah.
And so now that you're stepping back, it's like, how do we get to that point?
Yeah. But let me say this,
what I mean?
because even being a woman, I got married at 40. I finally got married because 31, my husband and I were together. We separated for a time, and now 8.5 years later, it comes back. But we were not virgins, but we waited until marriage to have sex.
So
right. So now we're having the sex talk in the midst of it.
Yeah. So I'm at the point in time where it's like I want to do that.
I will tell you,
it's really, that's an adjustment.
It was odd. I won't lie to you, but it's like, it's the thing that we can treasure, knowing that we didn't experience that before. We had lots of intimacy beforehand, because intimacy is beyond sex. It's intellectual.
It's all your time.
Yeah.
Giving somebody that time where it's like, especially what we're doing, and it's like, I crave that. But, to be the woman and not be always like.
Because in your, I don't know how old you are, but I can guess.
Oh, you're February 11th. Girl. February 11th. Yes, Aquarius. See, that bonds. Yes, we're special.
Yes. Yeah. But there's a lot of fatherless young men out here who, the truth is they're very sexual, but they lack the ability to be intimate. So how do you as a woman figure that out? Because it's hard to try to find. My husband grew up fatherless, but there was a demand that I put on that intimacy, and there are times that I still have to go beyond, like we're not being intimate. We're not sharing the depths of ourselves with each other, because that's the one person you get to share that with and be vulnerable with.
And then to have all these situations where you were open and trusting and vulnerable, and
they used it. And they tore you up with it because they weren't.
You don't even know my story, but whatever.
They weren't prepared to handle that level of depth, because they have their own set of issues that they come to the table with, right? And that's the part we ignored. That's the part we even ignore about our parents. Our parents showed up as my mother, woman, our father, men.
Yeah.
But they were raised a certain way that they come to the table with their own set of circumstances, and if they're not working through those things beforehand. I'm telling you, marriage is like, if I can't dump my purse out, I don't have much in there. Marriage will dump all your stuff on the table and make you deal with it. And that's why people are getting divorced, because their childhood and their fatherlessness. It's like 52%. And the Christian community is worse. Because honestly, the church isn't telling the truth about what marriage is. Marriage is a healing and redemptive experience. And if you don't know that.
And it's God ordained.
And God moves in that thing. And I'm telling you, all of your dirt, stuff you didn't even know you had in there, is like an old lady purse at church. You know how she dig that candy out the bottom of the purse and you're like, you eat it anyway because you're a kid, because you want something. Like, that's what marriage is like. And that little piece of candy that is old and it's in a wrapper and it's sticking and you crying and all that, that's what's going to come out in your marriage. And growing up fatherless, you then realize, I didn't get any of the development I needed for this. I don't even know what this looks like. I know what it looks like from a Cosby Show perspective. I know what it looks like from watching TV and seeing individuals that I like, but I've never experienced it in my home, and so I don't know how to be a husband, or I don't know how to be a wife. When we're talking about the biblical side of things, I did a series on Facebook, on our Facebook Live last month. It was called Breaking the Curse of Fatherlessness, and I did it from a biblical perspective. And I laid the Bible on the table. I said, you think Ratchet TV got something? I said, this Bible right here, when you have Sarah looking at Abram and saying, I know I can't have kids, so Hagar, come on up in here and handle that business. And then when it turns bad, she's like, kick her out. How many of y'all know somebody who got married to a woman who then kicked the children out from the first marriage? She's like, no. I'm just telling you, the Bible expresses all of these things.
It's very... The word that I'm thinking about is beautiful, but it's timeless.
Yeah.
And that, like, my dad used to always, he was born in 1928. So, yeah, I was the youngest of 5. So I have a very old, sort of traditional perspective.
How was the oldest one?
Well, my oldest brother passed away when he was 54. Yes. So, talk about, I'm like, I'm mixed generation. I'm like not only mixed, I'm mixed generation.
Gotcha.
So I feel like this responsibility for my own generation to get them right, you know? But I mentioned that because my father was always like, you know, you're thinking that you're experiencing this on your own. Like, this is the first time, you know, going to prep school, like dealing with being like one of the 5 black girls, you know, all this stuff, right? You know, and you're like, this is weird. Like, I'm smart, but people aren't really encouraging you to like trust that honesty and that intelligence. Whatever, it's a whole nother story. But he's like, everybody's gone through this. Like, I'm like the 5th of his kids. And he's probably had that conversation with the 4 previous.
Right.
And I'm experiencing it like, oh my word.
You're the first
right?
and you're the only.
Right. And it's like biblical. It's with time, especially when you have those, the first unit of government is a family.
Okay, when I heard that yesterday, I was done.
Right?
I was like, that's the message. That's
real.
The truth.
And that's the reason why they broke it, because especially when it comes to black families, powerful, just recently unified 2 generations ago black families.
Who were the most intact families in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And you have to break us up.
How do we mess that up? How do we mess that up?
You break it up because we're now funding civil rights. We're now funding all of the right things.
And it's fake as I don't know what. So what is your organization really do? What's your...
We focus on reunification. We've done now 3,250 reunites with fatherless children. No, we count every couple of weeks. We do it on purpose.
Across the country.
Across the country. Yeah, we have offices. Main headquarters is in Atlanta. We have an office in D.C. We have Miami, St. Louis. Oh God, Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I'm from.
Oh, I
have to make sure. Yeah, it's got to be one at home.
Kalamazoo.
Dallas and did I say St. Louis? Oh, and Los Angeles.
Across the country.
Across the country. We did that on purpose because we recognized that there were some men who would call us and they would be okay with moving forward. There were some men who needed to touch somebody. And so, yeah, we
So the parents and the child can call. Who can participate in this?
Men tend to call us more than anything. So men call us. We get calls by 1,000.
So are you telling me men want to be fathers to their children?
Okay,
what?
Let's not even make it a race thing, but I'm going to tell you. African American men, new study came out last year. African American men are the most active, most loving and nurturing men out of all of the cultures. Like, it's a study. And they're not necessarily even in the home. That's a thing. And I say that because the propaganda has fed it differently.
How many lies?
Yeah, the propaganda has lied to us and said, black men don't want to be in the home. Then they put it out in movies and they share all of that information. Black men, some of them, let's just be honest, they grew up fatherless and they will tear something up to ensure that they're in their children's lives. Like, they will spend their last dime. They will do whatever it is. And the majority of the fathers who come through our program, I'll tell you 95, 96% of them are on child support before they even gain any access. Because they don't recognize that they don't have any rights.
4 boots over.
Yeah, they don't have any rights as fathers. When you're a non-marital birth, You have zero rights as a father in this country. You have a responsibility.
But they
to child
encourage,
support.
don't forget, they encourage premarital sex. They encourage extramarital sex, let's be honest. And then all of a sudden, when that natural union occurs,
Yeah.
oh, and the woman keeps the child,
And it's my child.
and it's the father's child.
No, she takes ownership. That's you. I have a text
That's
message in
half
my phone right now where she's
Don't
saying,
get me started.
You better bring my baby back. And that situation is nuts. You better bring my baby back. As if
But then society and culture is encouraging that, reinforcing that narrative and mentality. And don't be surprised why women and or black women are so enraged, because it's an unnatural way of being.
absolutely, you can't raise a child by yourself.
And you
be
shouldn't have to.
happy and not depressed. It wasn't designed that way. We have peer groups all across the country. We have 3 now in DC. And I will tell you, the kids, there was a kid in Fort Lauderdale. I've been teaching that class. I haven't taught in a while. But I was teaching that peer group. And a little girl, she's 10. She says, I didn't think it was a bad thing not to have a father.
Because I didn't even,
she said, I didn't even know it took a father to make a baby, make a child, until a class I just took last quarter.
How old was she?
10. And then the 13-year-old said, and the 7-year-old said, yeah, I didn't either. So because they didn't even get it, they didn't even know he was necessary.
They were all in public school.
Yes.
And they're going to want one extra pre-K extra year to, again, indoctrinate your children, take them away from you, and then just the rest is history.
I had no idea. And that was a powerful moment to say, I didn't know that daddies were necessary to conceive me and to create me. So why would I think that he was necessary in my day-to-day makeup? And I was like, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know how powerful that was. And I'm sharing that because children need to know that their dads are necessary. Fathers need to know they're necessary. Dads will be like, oh, I'll see them when they're 18. I said, not on my watch, you won't. All the hurt and pain has already been established.
Yeah.
All the problems that they're going to have in life.
Damage has already been done.
Yeah, it's been done. And we look at the statistics, all dropout, drug abuse. I look at it in a different way. I see those statistics, but I look at them spiritually. Those are all spirits as well. And when you're not conceived in a situation, and I won't say there wasn't love, because just because you're not with the person doesn't mean you didn't love them.
Right.
But when you're conceived in that way, you're opening the floodgates for your children not to be protected, not to have provision.
Right.
And we have to change society and understand that dads are necessary. And me as a black woman doing this work, black women are like, I've had threats.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for that answer. What?
She wasn't. I've been threatened. I have a bodyguard named Bali in Atlanta specifically for that reason.
What are they threatening you for?
Women they don't want their children with the father. They don't want that control. They don't want that control. Yeah, and so they're like, you're coming to remove the control. One lady said, you're actually interrupting my style of parenting by bringing him back into the home. And I said, but your child needs their father. Your child needs their father to speak to the part of him that's in them. How else will they know? My father validated this grown woman at 31. He made me a whole human being. Just with his presence. He didn't have a lot of words to say, Liz. Even with your dad. That was probably like you were talking about earlier.
There was
probably something he said
Yeah.
about you. You're not the only one to go through that. That might have been. He might have said that, and then for a time span, he's just present. He doesn't say much. Because men don't have a lot to say sometimes, but when they do.
Listen, it's okay. So how do people get involved? How do they find out about you?
You can go to our website. It's tfgf.org, and you can get involved. You can volunteer. We look for college students to facilitate the peer groups around the country. We want them to get involved at an early stage, an early level, where they can help their education.
So you said anyone can help, or
anyone can help, but when it comes to facilitating the peer groups, I'm saying that specifically because we want to expand more. We like college students who are in education, who are in child psychology, even poli-sci. We want them to come and help because they can get school credits to help us, and then they can get on the grassroots level of helping an organization and working with kids that would, oh my God, when you work with these babies, you become everything to them, and you're talking about a part of them that they didn't even know they would discuss. So you can volunteer that way. You can. My husband would say, donate. He's that guy. Yeah, he's that guy. So there's a donate button on there, And then, when it comes to reunification, we look for attorneys who help these fathers through that process. I
So
want
you connect with the ABA and all that.
Yeah, but I want you to know something.
What?
You know who the most powerful attorneys and the list that I have that's the strongest list on this planet? You know what demographics they are?
What?
African American female.
Right.
Because we
that.
get it. Because we understand. And you wouldn't think that we would be the ones helping, but it's African American female
I know.
attorneys. She's like, I know behind the scenes. That's who's working with us.
Yeah.
And that's why we came to CPAC to share this message of what we do, and then to learn about what's going on this side of the conversation. I need to know what's happening.
Right.
Not from TV, but from the horses.
So you feel good about coming to CPAC?
I'll be back next year, and I'm going to have a booth at the exhibit hall.
Yay!
Yeah.
Graduated to the... That's great. Thank you so much for checking it out. And again, this is the reason why someone like me is running again. Someone like me is bringing these stories together, because you cannot address this without addressing this. And it's a ripple effect. It's a concerted effort to destroy society. And if you really are adamant about fixing things, then we have to fix it from the source.
Yeah. The root. And I met you today,
Yes.
and I know you have a heart for this. I need you guys to vote for this young lady. I need you guys to vote for her. I'm telling you, she has a heart and a passion for this work. Not just fatherlessness and not just running politically. It's so much more than that for her. We connected. I heard something she said, and we made eye contact, and we've been seeing each other. I'm telling you, it's a heart. It's in her heart. And if you don't vote for her, look, she is the one. She's the one.
And I didn't pay her for that.
She didn't. She didn't know what I was going to say.
Money for that.
When you can talk to someone and you see it in their heart and you can see it in your eyes, and you have a passion for it, and you're open to what it is you need to do for your people, that's the person you guys need to vote for. So I'm excited to see what happens with you.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
February
Thanks.
babies. What?
Yes. Thanks for having me so much. I appreciate it.
Yay!